Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Also, look at me standing up for filming a video. I don't like standing up filming because I keep going like this and I find that annoying. I find it annoying to watch, I find it annoying to edit, so yeah, but this is just a quick little intro because I don't have the books for this vlog yet, but I wanted to do the intro because otherwise I was just gonna forget. So, the one person I know who's read all of Riley Sager's books is Rylanne. And if you're not following her channel, what are you doing? Go follow right now. So, basically, see, I can't stand still. Basically, I asked her for like a recommended reading order of Riley Sager's books, and she did me one better because she put all the Riley Sager books in like ranking order of her favorites, which is basically what I wanted. I just did not have the words to formulate that exact phrasing when I asked. Anyway, so we're doing on this side? No, let's do it on this side. So, Rylanne's Riley Sager order. We have Lock Every Door, The Last Time I Lied, The House Across the Lake, Middle of the Night, Survive the Night, Final Girls, Home Before Dark, and The Only One Left. Now, my library doesn't have all of these books. My library has 4 of these books. So, I'm just going to cross out the books that I'm not going to be able to get, but at least 4 books. So I shall be reading these 4 books in this video once I actually get the hold comes in, because all of them are on hold right now. So, my idea is basically I'm gonna see if I agree with Rylanne's ranking based on the books I can read, that is. Yeah, so I'll see you again when one of the books comes in. I don't know which one it'll be. It's a surprise. The first Riley Sager book. Yes, I really enjoyed this book. I honestly really enjoyed this book. It's a simple thriller, as in, if you wanted to, you could very easily, like, figure out everything before you get the cards on the table, as well. But I enjoy that. I enjoy that. Also, I very much enjoyed that the characters, Jules specifically, that we are following, anytime, not every scene, but there were a lot of like intense scenes where I was like, yeah, this is not, this is what I would say. And then like a few steps later, she actually said what I thought she should say. Yeah? Like, how often does that happen? It's like when you're yelling at the TV, you're watching like a scary movie, and you're like yelling at the TV, telling this character to don't go in the room, don't go behind that door, blah blah blah. You're like, run away, and they don't listen. This was like, this character listened to me. I really enjoyed it. So, Jules, I like how I said how I thought, what I thought about the book before I tell you what the book is about. So, we follow Jules. So, right in the beginning of the book, she loses her job, comes home early, only to discover that her boyfriend is cheating on her. So, now she's, you know, jobless and homeless. Perfect. So she's living with her best friend temporarily. She's living on the sofa. She finds this ad which basically is seeking an apartment sitter. So they don't tell you much in the ad, just basically, are you free? Call this number, blah blah blah. She does. She goes to this like job interview, sees the place, and it's like, what the hell? This is like the fanciest place ever. And she's gonna stay there for like 3 months and get paid $12,000. Yes, hello, yes, give me. Who wouldn't say no to that? So the only thing is, I mean, she needs to, she can't stay a night outside of the house. I almost said hotel, but she needs to spend every night there. Fine enough. Another rule is you can't actually bring people there. She can't even post on socials about it. It's like, ooh, strict. I mean, knowing what happens in the book later, yeah, it's very much too good to be true, but also, who says no to that? I mean, yes, you would say yes to that, because if you don't have anything else, you broke, and you need the money. 3 months, $12,000. That's so much money. So much money. Now, I will say this though, because like towards the end of the book, there was a couple of chapters where, I mean, this is a me thing, but I did have some hospital flashbacks that wasn't really, you know, very comfortable, but that's a me thing. I don't think everybody will have that experience, whatever, or maybe get that flashback, but yeah. Now, I really liked it. So, I mean, so far, this is number one. I've only read the one, so I have 3 more to go, depending on what my library will want to give me. I don't know, which I think maybe it's going to be Final Girls. I don't know. It's very hard to guess with these things, but I'll see you when I've read that book, whichever book it will be. So, in the middle of the night, we follow, we have 2 different POVs. Well, that's not right. We have 2 different timelines. So we have 1994, in which we get different characters' POV of that day, because it's just, I think it's just over one day. One day, plus or minus, whatever. And then we have present time, which is just Ethan. It is Ethan. I don't think was there anyone else in present timeline? Anyway, it's mainly him. If it's someone else, and if it's someone else, I clearly forgot. Not important. So, back in 1994, there was a very doomed day. So, the main thing that happened that day is that Ethan and his best friend, Billy, they went camping in Ethan's backyard. So they were sleeping in a tent. And when Ethan then woke up the next morning, Billy was gone. And there was a rip in the tent. So, yeah, and Billy has not been seen Billy has not been seen since that night. Now, after that incident, Ethan kind of went to boarding school and hasn't really been back in this cul-de-sac where he grew up. But now his parents have, did they move to Florida? Where was it? Let's say Florida. They moved, but they still have the house. So they're like, well, you live in the house until we figure things out, basically. He is kind of in the middle, or not really in the middle. He's, well, up in the air in life, as it were. So, yeah, we do find out he has a bit of a backstory in the present time, which has kind of made him need to stay in his old house. But different parts of the plot. But what we go through, oh, my eye. What we go through in present time. So basically, Ethan is, he's getting all these memories back from that day, that fateful day back in 1994, and also finding out lots of things about the other people that lived or still live, because it's basically all the families that lived there are basically the OG families. It's just that maybe Some are slightly past and now it's the kids living there. Either way, it's still kind of the same people hanging around town, as it were, or the little cul-de-sac. I really liked this. I liked the way it was jumping back and forth between what happened that day and with that, and especially as we are seeing different point of views on that day, like so we get different times of the day where the different characters around are doing different things, and we sort of like piece together this whole puzzle of what actually happened that day, because it's a lot happened that day. So many things. I mean, there's a lot of characters, so you would see me. You know, the world doesn't revolve around just you. So, you know, when you leave a person, they still continue on doing something else, whereas they don't just stop like they're an NPC in a game. If you've been playing too many games, you kind of think people are just NPCs. Anyway, I really liked that. I really liked that we just have the one POV in present time, and we just follow him as he's going through, well, kind of remembering and trying to remember, and also finding out lots of sneaky pieces around about the people around him, even his parents. Yeah, there's stuff, there's things there that he didn't know about, and there's a reason to it as well, so everything makes sense. Well, most of the things make sense. There's a few bits and pieces here and there that's like, why was this really necessary? But okay, fine, for the plot of the whole thing to, I don't know, summarize what it is about and whatever, that, I guess, I won't say what happens like totally, but I really loved how this book ended. That end scene, as it were, so I loved it. I loved it. It's a bit weird if you think about it too much, but because there's like legal things, but I think it's adorable. I think it's adorable, and I really like how the whole book wrapped itself up. Alrighty, final girls. So, what is a final girl? A final girl is the last girl standing after a brutal murder. That's basically the gist of it. So in this one we have 3. We do only really follow the one person, the one character, but we do see all the others, as it were, in one shape or form. So all the others, both of them, kind of. So we have Quincy. Now Quincy is our little main girlie, and yeah, she survived something brutal which she can't really remember much of, but she doesn't really want to remember. She just wants to move on with life. She's happy doing what she's doing, which is basically she has a baking blog. That took me a lot of effort to say. Why? Weird. Anyway, she's happy doing what she's doing. She just wants to move on. Good for her. Good for her. Why, like, try to remember something that you don't actually need to remember? There's not really any reason for it. I mean, sure, you could maybe have seen the murderer who killed all your friends, and maybe that would be a good thing, as far as investigations go, but also someone else can try to figure that out. It doesn't have to be her. Anyway, so one of the other final girls, Lisa, she dies. She apparently commits suicide. Quincy doesn't really believe this, but also, what's she gonna do about it? Not really a lot. But then Sam, a third final girl, turns up, and she's angry. She's angry and she wants answers and she wants Quincy to remember what happened to her. And I'm like, dude, what's it to you? You had your own thing. Why does Quincy need to remember hers? She doesn't. She doesn't. So basically it's Quincy kind of starts her own kind of investigative thing. She's suspicious of Sam. She's suspicious of what happened to Lisa. She doesn't believe it's a suicide. So yeah, a lot of things are brought up throughout. And that's basically all I can say about the plot without actually spoiling it. So I'm not going to do that. So on to my thoughts. I feel like I did like it, but there were so many things that was very obvious, and it may be a bit too obvious. So I'm wondering if I just like guessed it ahead of time, and I liked that I could guess what the answer was, or what. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's not a very, now I'm holding it like it looks big, but it's not a very big. It's not a very long read. It's entertaining. It's not really thrillery as such. I wouldn't say. I was very calm throughout. I did fall asleep a couple of times. That's how calm I was. I did fall asleep because it was late, not because it was boring. This is a different thing altogether. Anyway, no, I liked it, but how much did I like it? I don't know. I'm gonna have to think. But yeah. So, the last of the Riley Sager books that my library has. The only one left. So in this one we follow Kit. Kit is a caregiver and she's recently come into a bit of a troubled situation, as it were, because her last patient accidentally died on her watch because of negligence. So she's been on a bit of a, well, timeout. There's a different word, but I can't think of it. She's back, she's ready to do all the things that a caregiver does, I guess. So she gets this new job, and the job is at Hope's End, which is a giant mansion type of thing built on a cliff edge. Now, the thing about this place, because it's local, and all her life growing up, she's heard about Lenora Hope and how she killed her family. And guess who the patient is? Oh yes, it's Lenora Hope. What? So basically, Lenora Hope has been, well, an invalid, I guess, is the best way to describe it. She apparently had a stroke and polio and whatnot back in wherever. I'm not too sure about like the dates of things, because the murders that they talk about took place in 1929, and we are sometime in the 80s. That is our present time, but it's not really mentioned a lot, like precise figures. There were a lot of times, like when Kit goes on the phone, and I'm like, Jen, just pull up your mobile and give a ring. No, she's like standing in the kitchen on the landline, because that's how you do it in the 80s. She gets kind of involved in the, well, she gets a bit too curious, because the former caregiver had kind of just disappeared, left in the middle of the night, just disappeared, poof. So that's why Kit is there. And because Kit then also discovers that really all the former caregiver, Mary is her name, her stuff is still in the room, everything. Like there's nothing, because if you had an emergency and you had to leave in the middle of the night for whatever reason, you would at least pack a small bag for like a change of clothes. You'd keep like some personal effects like with you, like something very sentimental usually. Well, you would at least have a change of clothes. It doesn't seem that Mary's taken anything. So, oh, Kit she gets a bit too involved, because the thing is, she could have just taken the job and just done the job and let that be it. She could have not put her nose in it, as it were. But she does, accidentally and kinda on purpose. So she starts to piece together the things that like happened in 1929, and also what happened to Mary and other things, as well as us as readers getting to find out what happened to her former patient that died, which happens to be her mum, by the way. Yeah. Ooh. It was a situation. Yeah. And also because what was his name? Winston Hope, who built this house. He was a rich dude who had a lot of money, so he did what people with too much money do. Or people who want to appear richer than they actually are. Well, he built this house. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that he built this house on this cliff, and currently in the present time, as it were, well, the cliff is kind of shattering and the house is slowly falling well over the cliff. Yeah. Super dangerous house, this. Not only do we have a potential killer in the house, because even though everyone says Lenora did it, there wasn't actually enough evidence there for her to be committed. So we have a potential killer. Sure, she can't actually move and stuff, but we have potential killer, and also the house is a potential killer, because just being in the house could kill you. Because there's loads of times where the house is just moving a bit too much, and well, the tiles on the roof are falling down a lot, and it keeps happening more and more, and it's like, why are you in this house? That seems more dangerous than anything. So, having said all that about the plot of the book, as it were, there were times like when Kit is like trying to figure out what actually happened in 1929, she gets like bits and pieces of information from Lenora, who's kind of typing on a typewriter very slowly, but still she's typing out her story, as it were, but she's not doing it consistently. And we get like between every other chapter here and there, we get like the typewritten story of the past, which I highly enjoyed reading. Those bits, those inserts, it was super good to the story. I love that. However, so there are, well, clues and stuff that when we like figure everything out in the end, those clues and stuff, they don't completely add up. Yeah. Because it's like we get told one thing. Usually when they do like slightly hint drops along the way, they don't mention specific things, but just a general thing. And there are points where we get the specific thing, but then later find out that that wasn't actually that. Because the thing about not saying the specific thing, just like the roundabout thing, is that we as a reader can get that whole, we can try to, well, it's well, it's basically meant for us to get the wrong idea. But yeah, there were some bits and pieces here and there that didn't actually add up. Also, the ending, although kind of fun for what it is, it also doesn't completely make sense to the story, but also I kind of like the ending. I think I like the ending more than I like the entire book. It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. Anyway, I'm gonna have to think about all of these books and get back to you. Yeah, let's have a thinker and do a sum up. Yeah. So I just I watched this video up until this point because I've edited the books as I've gone along. So I've watched this video up until this point just to try to remember all the things I said and also which of the books I actually had. So, where to start? Okay, so should I just rank them and tell you why, or should I? Oh, I don't know. I didn't think this through. Oh no. Okay, so I have my little list here, so I can remember. Yeah, let's just rank them. So I kinda I'll start from like the best to the worst. So I kind of can't really differentiate between the first two books. I like them in different ways. I like different things about them, but I can't specifically say which one I liked better than the other. So in first place, we have Lock Every Door and also Middle of the Night. So Lock Every Door, it had this fast pace because it's only set for, I mean, we do get like the ending we get like sometime later, but the main plot of the book is a couple of days. It was like within a week kind of a situation. So we have this fast-paced thing going, which is intriguing. It keeps the momentum going, keeps you wanting more. And then Middle of the Night, because because Lock of the Door has that two point of view. We have the present time and the couple of days later time. And the middle of the Night has that same thing, only it's present time, and then we have however many years it was, 20, 30 years, I don't remember, honestly, what was it? It was in 1994, that's how much I remember. And in that past point of view, we get different characters and what they were doing throughout the day that was kind of adding up the puzzle pieces to what actually happened and the mystery of the disappearance of the best friend Billy. Yeah, so we had that. So both of those had that keep the momentum going, keep the mystery going. So I kind of have to have an even fast-paced plot for those two of the books I've read. The 4 books I've read of the 8 books total. Anyway, so next up, the last 2 books I feel like I could probably split up a bit more. Which one do we start with? I honestly, ranking stuff is hard. This is why I don't star review all the books. Anyway, for the second place, because joint first place, so technically third place, let's not get into that bit, but I'm gonna have to go with The Only One Left because I liked the intrigue, the mystery of that. That's what kept me going. Like, what actually happened in that past? Did Lenora kill her family? Did she not? What's going on now? Because there's a bit of a mystery in the present time, like with the former caregiver gone missing and all. However, the thing that lacks in that book is that all the little puzzle pieces don't actually add up together. There's like, it's like you're trying to put a circle into a square kind of a deal. You have kind of the right piece, but it doesn't really fit into it. So I feel like if that book had been gone through a lot more and actually maybe edited better, sorry, but I like the general gist of it. I like the idea of it. It's the thing about it is that it's bigger than it actually seems. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to go with that one for third, only because Final Girls, that one just made me angry. Well, it's this, the thing about Final Girls is that it's intriguing up to a point. We're following the one final girl that she just wants to move on. She doesn't care about what happened in her past. She just wants to move on in life. And then we have that final girl that's trying to help other final girls, but she presumably commits suicide. That's what we said. That's what we told. And then we have that third final girl that's kind of like everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She just enters, what was her name again? Quincy? Yeah, she just enters first final girl's, a main final girl's life, just kind of moves in and is like, yeah, just give me money, I live here now. she's in that kind of mode, and she's just angry, and she's trying to bring up the main final girl's plot. I can't remember if her name was Quincy. I said in the video and I completely forgot. Anyway, she kind of wants to bring up the past, and main girlie is like, but I'm happy, I'm sad, I don't need to dredge up the past. I'm not in that mode. I mean, there's a whole reason behind it, why she's doing what she's doing and all that, but I wasn't entertained enough. I wasn't thrilled enough. And that brings me to, like, the conclusion of it all. So the internet has me believing that Riley Sager is a thriller author. Well, I guess. That is how you categorize that type of books, writing, whatever. Here's the thing. I feel like with thrillers, you need to be like, you need to get some like heart palpitations. You need to be a little scared of what's going to happen, even though you know it's fiction. I mean, you have the mystery elements as well, which were kind of fine for what it was, but I was not thrilled enough. I wanted, like, raise my stress levels. Raise it up. I don't want to be stressed and I don't want to be anxious, but when I'm reading or watching a movie that's a thriller, I want to be able to feel what it's kind of supposed to be depicting. And I was like, am I just dead inside and I don't feel feelings? I want to say no, because no. Because then I was watching the two last Scream movies, number 5 and number 6. I've not actually seen them when they first came out, and I just managed to get a hold of them recently. So I was watching them, and I was like, this is awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm not scared because they're not that way, but they did give me like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? So I did get some of that. So no, I'm not dead inside. I don't know. I guess maybe for others, Riley Sager is a thriller-ish, thrillery. What do you say? What's the word? It was a bit lacking for me. Good author, good ideas from the books I read. Lacking bit here and there, but that's, I mean, that's basic for everyone. I'm not gonna lie, that's really basic. So, I mean, So, as far as my ranking compared to Rylanne's, I mean, I mostly agree with her. I'm going to have to say, because Rylanne's ranking of the first, of the books I could get a hold of was Lock Every Door, Middle of the Night, Final Girls, and then on The Only One Is Left. I kind of changed places with Final Girls and The Only One Left, and also I can decide which one I liked best of Lock Every Door and Middle of the Night. So, kind of. Anyway, this has been a long-winded video, but that's just me. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Remember to go follow Rylanne, because Rylanne puts up loads of videos, and I know she's putting up loads of videos for Bookmas, which is currently happening now in December. Yes, so go follow, and I'll see you all next time. Take care, bye-bye.